have Harbor Branch, USDA, and all our sponsors for attending this presentation. So we're going to begin with Salmon Chetri, I pronounced it correctly?
Yeah.
From Kentucky State University, and she researches on olive flounder.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. Hello everybody. Good morning, and thank you everybody for coming this early morning. My name is Salgun Chetri. I'm from Kentucky State University. I work with Dr. Andrew Ray, and today I'll be presenting my master's research. And the topic of my presentation is the influence of crowding stress on the growth performance and health hematological parameters of olive flounder in inland-based intensive RAS. So recirculating aquaculture system, RAS, I think most of us are already aware about RAS. It allows nutrient recycling. At the same time, it has the minimal water exchange. In some cases, the water exchange are like said to be less than 5% throughout the culture period of animal, and also has enhances the environmental sustainability. And so if we like come from the Kentucky and where we do not have ocean and sea, so we depend on the artificial salt to grow the seafood. So in such context, if you have to make salt water daily, that's not economical and convenient. So with the intensive marine RAS, it helps to conserve salt, space and heat. At the same time, farmers can grow the high value seafood products, and they can sell in the premium price, and the consumer can enjoy the locally produced seafood. Olive flounder, they are one of the important commercially raised marine species in East Asia, particularly in Korea, Japan, and China. Korea, I think, the biggest producer of olive flounder so far. According to 2022, they produce almost 46,000 metric ton of olive flounder. They have the well-established production technique from the spawning to grow out. Everything has been successfully done. And they have the sedentary behavior. They are flat fish, and most of the time they will stay on the bottom of the tank, except feeding time. So they are quite competitive while feeding. So farmers that have been working with the shrimp, they can use the same flat bottom tank to grow this high valued flounder and maximize their profit. And they also are widely liked by the consumer because of their texture and taste and flavor. Popular is harame in Asia. I mean, in US, it's not as much as popular in Asia, but it's increasingly popular. And sell as flounder, I guess. So they are generally raised using the flow-through system, but as we all are aware, with the flow-through system, the problems of disease outbreak and the degradation of coastal environments occur. So that's why I guess it's worth investing in RAS technologies. Talking about the olive flounder in US, University of Miami, they, I guess, are the first one to work with this species. They have been working with this species since 2015, if I'm not wrong, and they have worked out many bottlenecks in olive flounder production for the US. And our lab has collaborated with the University of Miami, and they provided us with the fish. And Dr. Stiglet is here. He was always there to guide us if we need any suggestions regarding the olive flounder production. So RAS obviously has a lot of filtrations and water treatment components. So the cost, especially the upfront cost, tends to be high. So in order to cover that cost, the production, we want the production or the productivity to be maximized. And one of the common ways is by increasing the stocking densities. But at the same time, as I already mentioned, while eating, the species are quite competitive, and they are carnivorous fish, so they are cannibalistic also, as you can see on this picture. So we just cannot increase on stocking density. There should be some limits, or we need to find the right stocking density for this species. Otherwise, they will affect the production performance or fish growth performance. We in this study use the hematological or the blood parameter to see how stressed are the fish based on the stocking densities. For these studies, we use 4 of those stress indicators. They are cortisol, growth hormone, insulin-like growth factor 1, and glucose. So with this project, our goal is to determine the suitability of olive flounder production in inland production in US. At the same time, we also want to see the effect of stocking density on the stress indicators and water quality parameters in RAS. So for that, this is the I will say the advanced one of the advanced RAS setup. We build almost in 8 to 9 months. It took us 8 to 9 months to build this. We have the culture tanks on those parts, and that's not very clear, but that's drum filter, foam fractionator. We also have ozone injected in the foam fractionator, UV lamp, and that's the biofilter, almost 1500 gallon. These species are the cooler water species, like generally raised in 20 to 23 degrees centigrade. So we also have the bigger biofilter to process the ammonia, and that's the nitrification. Since they are carnivorous, so we feed them the high protein diet. So we expected to have the high nitrate output. So to address that, we also have the denitrification chamber. So when we first received the fish from the Miami, they were almost 1.2 gram, but they were too small to start with the experiment. That's why we stocked them onto those nursery tank for almost 14 weeks. And after 14 weeks, they were 55.2 gram. And then we started with the initial stocking density of 3, 6, and 9 kg per meter square, and started the experiment. We have 3 replicates, and we use 1.2 meter square fiberglass tank for this experiment. So for the blood, we use a wet scan for the glucose, and for the cortisol, growth hormone, and insulin-like growth factor, we use ELISA, and we also monitor the water quality, like DOPH, that they were monitored twice daily. In terms of ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate, they were monitored twice weekly. So this is the water quality result. All the water quality parameters were maintained within the recommended range for the olive flounder production. Like most of them, obviously it was a recirculating system, so we didn't observe any significant difference, but we did see some significant difference in DO and pH based on the stocking density. I mean, like with significantly higher in low density, followed by the medium and high. So this is the cortisol result. Although we observed some kind of significant differences initially, we have the 3 sampling period at the end of every 30 days. The total culture period was almost 90 days long, but at the harvest we didn't observe any significant difference. In terms of the growth hormone, we didn't observe any significant differences at any point of sampling. A similar case happened in IGF-1. In terms of glucose, initially, like towards the first sampling period, we observed significantly high glucose in high density, but at the harvest time, like unexpectedly, it was high in low density, but low in high stocking density treatment. So this is the production data, production result. At the end of almost 3 months experiment, the fish in the low density treatment were almost, I'll say, half pound, and they were almost 400 gram in medium stocking density, and I'll say 347 gram in high density treatment, obviously significantly high in low density treatment, but still, I guess, in high density treatment, if you see the productivity, the production per meter square is like 55 kg per meter square. I guess that's a very good result for this species. Similarly, if you see the growth rate and specific growth rate, significantly high in low density treatment, and then medium, and then the high, but still, I guess, almost 2% per day of specific growth rate is still good, and we do not have any significant difference in survival, more than 95% survival in all 3 treatments. And SCR significantly higher in high density treatment, but I guess still 1.3, I guess still good results. And we do have a very good condition factor in all 3 treatments. So to summarize the hematological or the blood data, although we did see some significant difference initially, but at the time of harvest, there was no clear indication that the fish in the high density treatment were stressed compared to the medium or low. I also exactly don't know, maybe this might be the reason, but I think they might have adapted to the environment because they have been in the same tank for almost 93 days. And other thing is, in this study, the sample size were only 3 fish from each tank, 9 fish from each treatment. So there was high variability observed, so that might be the reason. So if for the future references, I will definitely to suggest to increase the sample size, and they maybe some significant differences could observed. So in terms of the production, the average weight, specific growth rate, and the condition factor all were significantly high in low density treatment, followed by medium and high. However, in terms of the productivity, the biomass, it was significantly high in high density treatment. Survival, we do not have any significant difference. In terms of water quality data, most of them are like there was no significant difference. As we have the robust filtration components, but DO and pH, we did observe significant difference based on the stocking densities. So to conclude, the system was advanced. We have the advanced RUS setup, but still we did observe some of the water quality parameters did affected by the stocking densities, especially DO and pH. In terms of stress hormone data, the data seems like bit noisy, but still there was no any clear indication that fish were stressed in the high density treatment. So we got the excellent production data. The fish seems to have a very good growth rate in all three treatments. They seems to have the good feed conversion rate. So to conclude, I can say the fish, the olive flounder can tolerate the high stocking density, but obviously but there will be trade-off in terms of size and maybe the feed efficiency, because the fish were a little bit smaller, and the feed FCR was a little bit higher in high density treatment compared to the low density treatment. We have not explored the market section yet. Dr. Ray has the future plans that where you want to study about the consumer preference, what size do they prefer. So hopefully in future we'll have that better answer also. Thank you.